You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Happy Freestyle Friday, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek, coming to you from Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Ashley Winch from Kansas City, Missouri, and you're listening to Horses in the Morning on Horse Radio Network for Friday, November 17th, episode 3308. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Kentucky Performance Products. Good morning, Horse World.
It's Friday, and another weekend of riding is a few short hours away. Jamie and Glenn are here to help you make it through the day with some fun guests and some really bad ads. Enjoy the show.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It is not Jamie this morning. She is on her way back, I think, today from New York City, and she got to see the premiere of Monty's movie last night, Monty, the Queen and the Cowboy, and from the pictures and everything she wrote, it looked like it was a great show. So I can't wait to hear all the details about that on Monday. She'll tell us all about her trip. She got to meet up with some auditors. I don't know if you saw that, Ashley, but
I didn't. I saw some plans happening, and so I'm just glad everybody got to get together and have some good old-fashioned horsey fun in the Big Apple.
They did, and I can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to actually see it. I don't know. I think she'll know more about when it's going to be out that we can actually watch it. But I'm so glad she got to go to New York. Monty looks good for almost 90 years old. He and Pat are up there, and they look great. So I'm sure that was a highlight for Monty, too, because, obviously working with the Queen is a highlight for your whole lifetime.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then to have it documented like that is really cool. It's
very cool. And I don't know about anybody else, but the new season of The Crown dropped yesterday. So I was getting all caught up on everything.
Are we past Diana yet?
Well, I'm still on. I just realized I even missed part of last season. So yesterday I'm catching up. She was in her revenge dress was the last episode I watched last night.
Okay. So she's still around. When are they ending currently? It? After Diana?
I think it'll be after her car crash.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. I gave up early on that one. I never watched it. And the other thing we're doing today is we're going live into the auditor room on video. So you get to see Ashley and I. We're doing that partly to just give you we went over how we do our pre-show notes. We showed you how we do our notes in the auditor room. So if you're not an auditor yet, you can do that by going to horseradionetwork.com, scrolling down in the middle of the page, see the auditor banner, click on that. For as little as $3 a month, you too can become an insider. And this is the kind of thing we do. We've been wanting to do this for a while, show you how we make horses in the morning. So we went over a little bit of our technology and how we do our scripts, for the day, which really script more of an outline, how we do our outlines and how we plan everything and put it all together, and then how we record it. So we hope that the auditors enjoy this and see a little bit about how it's made. Jamie, I've tried to get her to do this for a long time, but she just doesn't like being on video, but Ashley loves being on video. So here we are, into the auditor room. So if you missed it, if you're listening to this later, auditors, and you missed it, you can just go into the auditor room and you'll find the video. You want to watch maybe the first 15 minutes was a little bit of the pre-show, and then we'll do our post-show in here too, which I have a plan for. And coming up on today's show, we're going to have an auditor with us. Allison's joining us to tell us about reuniting with a special horse after 10 years. And in part 4 of our Insurance 101 series, Susan from Prize Insurance will explain what is needed to apply for insurance on your horse or your property. And of course, we have some really bad ads. And in the auditor post show, because Ashley and I seem to like to talk about food, we're going to talk about the top Thanksgiving foods and whether we agree with them or not. That's coming up in the post show. See, that's no fun to talk about with Jamie because she's a vegetarian and hates Thanksgiving because
I have some hot takes.
Okay, good. We'll talk about that in the post show. I wanted to mention though, this earlier in the week we did Veterans Day, right? And there was a post from the Corn Hunt. This is out, I think that's how you say it, out of England. And it was a post about a veteran of the equine variety. This horse's name was Songster, one of the oldest and most decorated horses in the First World War, who enjoyed his golden years in hunt country at this hunt. He was called up the day after the war was declared in 1914. A 14-year-old, just over 15 hands, was too small and too old to really be accepted to go overseas, to be in the battle. But because of his huge character, intelligence, and bravery, they took him. And he and his rider, a trooper by the name of Bert Main, alive for the duration of the war, all 4 years of the war.
Which, if you guys are not familiar with World War I and the warfare that they had to use given the lack of technology at the time, that is so incredibly rare.
8 million horses died in World War I. That's not including soldiers. That's just the number of horses. Right. The British Army had almost 150,000 horses went into the war, and 10 to 20,000 they estimate lived. So when you think about this soldier, this equine soldier, with the trooper aboard, lived all 4 years. It's incredible. This horse actually ended up with 5 of the most prestigious medals that the military gave out back in those days. It was the most decorated horse out back there. Came back and retired at the age of 18, lived to the age of 40. Believe it or not, and was buried with his medals at the farm, and actually went fox hunting and was great at fox hunting. But he was known during the battles to untie himself if there was heavy shelling, and nobody knows where he went, but he didn't like the shelling, so he would go and hide, and then when the shelling was done, he'd come back. He would just disappear, and then he would come back when the shelling was done. He was a little bit of a Zeus. He untied himself a lot. He was also they would feed the horses separately at where they were tied, but he didn't like the food apparently all that much. So when he heard the trumpet for water and feed for the soldiers, he would untie himself and go get in line, and they would let him into the mess tent and stuff.
What an icon.
I know. So after the war, the soldier Bert bought the horse from the Army and would regularly hunt him all through his life till the age of 40. And also Songster would draw the milk wagon. Bert was a milkman, and we'd draw the milk wagon into town once a week. And then when they were done with their rounds, he would join Bert for a pint upstairs in the room of the Old Boot Hotel. So the horse and Bert would go upstairs and get a drink, and no one could believe the horse could climb up and down the stairs, and the horse would climb up and down the stairs and would actually drink too. He liked beer, so he would drink beer.
I've had a quarter horse who loves a pint, but and he deserves it. He's a veteran.
Isn't that cool?
Give the poor horse a beer.
Yeah.
This really, I have to wonder if this was in some way the inspiration for that movie War Horse.
It was not. There was a different horse that was the inspiration for that movie, although this one could have been.
Right? Doesn't it? It sounds very...
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so there you go. So that our cheers and drinks up to Songster.
Yay, Songster. That's a good one, Glenn.
It is a good one. All right, let's do our daily Whinnies. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Okay, this is a favorite name I have every year for birthdays, and you know which one I'm looking at. I'm going to do it last. So we have 3 auditor birthdays: Terry Golson, Charlotte Phillips, and Melissa Pistachio. Melissa, I have to know, did you marry that name, or did you come with that name? And if you did, was high school a nightmare?
Maybe she's the heiress to the pistachio empire.
Well, that could be too. Melissa, let us know that too. We want to know if you're the...
Do you have pistachio money? We're looking for sponsors.
Yeah, that's right. We want to know. I like pistachio, so I'd be happy to advertise them.
Me too.
But I got picked on with Hebert in high school. I can't imagine.
What would people say?
Herbert, Shebert. Oh, there was all the names. They came up with all things. But pistachio, I mean, nutty. I mean, you could go through them all, right, in high school. They're mean, especially girls. Girls are really mean in high school. So don't say it.
I'm not going to say it.
I'm going to go on before you get yourself in trouble.
My daily Whinnie is going out to all the hosts and hostesses out there getting ready for company next week. This is me coming to you as a hostess myself. For years, we always have all the troops who don't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving. We have all the lost puppies over and host a huge Thanksgiving. So I've cooked multiple turkeys every year, and my husband's away for training this year. And it's my first year where I'm just going to like have a turkey sandwich and chill out. However, I know the rest of you guys are cleaning, dusting, getting the china ready. Goodness knows we talked a lot about
The
china.
Yeah.
I just want you guys to remember what the holidays are about. You know, nobody's going to be looking at the cobwebs in the corners. Like, have fun. Pour yourself a glass of wine and just take a deep breath. This is fun, okay? We can get through this together.
Well, you know, it's funny. We would get together with you if we were closer because we usually go to my brother's, but they're busy that day. So it's just Jennifer and I were thinking about actually taking the trailer up to the property and spending it up there with the horses.
Oh,
so it might be
wouldn't that
turkey
be
sandwiches
nice?
for us too.
We'll have to share pictures.
We don't have any way to bake a turkey up there, so it might be the same for us. You can come over. Come on down.
I'll just take a quick flight.
Yeah. No, you can't because you have to be home for Sunday. So next week.
Oh, yeah. Well, there goes that.
You're also co-hosting that, so you can't be late. No missed flights. I found this list, and it was on a website called Your Horse, which I hadn't heard of. It's yourhorse.co.uk, and it actually has a lot of good stuff on it. It's new to me, so and I see a lot of auditors joining us live on the feed today. So hi, everybody. It's horse behavior, 13 signs your horse is happy. So I want to see if Scooter's happy, okay? I want to see if my horse is happy, and I want to see if we agree with all of these.
Okay.
All right? And it says signs to look for include your horse's body language, their behavior in the field, as well as behavior in the stable, blah, blah, blah. And this was a Dr. Debbie Marsden that came up with the 13 signs. So let's see if we agree. You're not there, and you think about this with your horses at home, too, all right? Think about whether your horse is happy. We all like to think our horse is happy, right? I mean, I'm not too sure with Scooter sometimes. I don't think ponies are always happy anyway. But
Yeah, ponies are a cantankerous bunch.
Their nostrils. Your horse's nostrils should be relaxed, soft, and round. If they're unhappy, the nostrils become tight, thin, and drawn. It takes some studying to come up with that one, I guess. You can tell when they're flaring their nostrils.
Right. I'm doing it with my nose. I'm trying to like make them tight. And I'm just thinking, I don't think I've seen a horse's
only when they're
tight.
flaring their nostrils, usually when they're on guard, right? Or,
right.
You know.
Oh, yeah. If they're like roaring or something, you know.
Maybe I
Okay.
just don't pay enough attention to my horse, I guess. That's it. Their lip line. Your horse's lip line should curl down slightly in a relaxed, soft manner. If a horse is feeling tense, they'll be tight and drawn in this area.
So do they mean like at the end here?
I don't know.
Huh.
Or maybe that...
Or maybe at the front of the lip?
Okay, so far I'm not doing very well on this one. The lower jaw. Your horse's lower jaw should be loose and basically flappy. Yeah, we all know if
That
the bottom
one
lip is
checks out.
flappy. Yes, and Scooter has a flappy lip. He loves this. I love his flappy lip. We all love their
Yeah.
flappy lips.
That's fun.
So that one I agree with. That one we kind of understand. The tail. Your horse's tail will be fairly loose and swinging free. None of this is pretty basic. And will be swinging freely and evenly when they move. In the absence of injuries that affect the horse's tail, it should be straight. And we all know when they clench their tail, right? So,
right.
I mean, that one's
Or
pretty
if they're flicking it like they're mad.
Yes.
You know.
Usually they're hitting you in the face when they do that. Their ears should. We all know about the ears.
Come on.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to this.
Next.
Your horse. How to read your horse's behavior in the field. When they're rearing and pawing, it may look as though your horse is fighting, but rearing up with their front legs at another horse or pawing the ground are often signs they are enjoying themselves. Okay, that is not true with Scooter. When he's rearing and pawing at Nigel in the field, it's trying to kick the crap out of him. They're not having fun. Poor Nigel takes a beating from that pony. Maybe Scooter thinks he's having fun, but Nigel's definitely not having fun.
Scooter's in his mind, he's pretending he's spirit stallion of the Cimarron.
yes,
so he's having a great time.
He is. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Nigel is disassociating from reality.
Looking relaxed. God, this thing's basic. Your horse should look physically relaxed and grazing and alert to the environment. While grazing and alert to the environment.
Riveting.
Yeah, okay. Mutual grooming. Yeah, we know that one. All right, so.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. How to read the
nice.
horse's behavior in the stable. Regular droppings. Your horse's droppings should be regular and of a normal amount. When horses are stressed, they may not defecate, which is an indication they're not happy. Or colicky.
or the runs. I mean, it can go the other way, too.
That's Scooter's mode, is the runs. Yeah, he is the runs, no question. When
everybody gets anxiety tummy. I get it.
Yes. But it's amazing how quickly it affects horses. You go to get Scooter on the trailer, and in 5 minutes, he has the runs. It's crazy. And he loves going on the trailer. I don't get that.
They all do.
If your horses share a hay net with a stablemate while they're tied up in the yard, a sign that they're happy. I can tell you that Scooter and Nigel do not share a hay net either.
Yeah, I was going to say, or they're just like a really low rung on the hierarchy.
Yes, you usually see the lowest ones sharing the hay net, and the others are not. A smooth bed. Your horse's bedding should remain largely in place, as happy horses aren't restless in their stable. I wonder if
they're laying down and rolling around?
Yeah,
that's a happy horse. Other than colic
and
rolling,
we've had horses that have been happy that make a total disaster in their stall.
Pigsty.
I don't agree with that one. I'm sorry, Doc. I'm not buying some of these. Stable vices, cribbing, box walking. Okay, yeah, we all know that horses that are have some of those vices are unhappy about something. Okay, how to read your horse's behavior when you ride. Breathing out. When your horse breathes, this is true. Scooter has to do 3 sighs. After the 3rd sigh, then I know he's relaxed and we're going to have a good drive. Until the 3rd sigh, anything can happen.
We had a retired quarter horse racer when I was a young child, and she would always hum on the trail, and that's how I knew. She would go, and then I knew we were good.
I like that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. It's sighing. And by the way, there's only one under how to tell when you ride. How about when they're not trying to buck you off or rearing, crow hopping? I've told this story before. We had an Appaloosa years ago when I first met Jennifer. And I rode that horse a couple times, believe it or not. It was a great trail horse. But that Appaloosa, I never fell off, but everybody else did. I don't know why he didn't buck me off. Or he wouldn't buck even, but he was great. You go out in trails with that horse, a big horse. You go out in trails with that horse, and he'd be wonderful. And then about halfway through, he'd do this little sidestep crow hop, and everybody went off. Even Jennifer went off that horse because he lulled you into this sense of security, and then all of a sudden
you were safe.
There's the crow. It was just a tiny little crow hop, just enough sidestep that you were off. And he caught me the one time, and then I didn't ride him after that because I knew eventually I was coming off.
Yeah,
and I didn't like riding anyway all that much. So we had that horse, and he was so good at it. Actually went to a camp. I'll never forget this. It was a camp. That's where we sold that horse to. And we explained the situation. And they said, well, it'll make our riders better riders. And then we checked in with them about 2 years later. And they said almost every rider came off at one point and they learned how to fall.
I mean, I remember we would have whole lessons on falling. And when you're a kid, you bounce anyway. It's good for you,
They said it taught him to be alert the whole ride because this horse would be so perfect and then do this little crow hop in the middle. And they said it taught him how to ride and pay attention the whole time and not get lazy. So and I said, was anybody ever hurt? They said, nope, nobody was ever hurt because it was just this little sidestep. It wasn't dangerous. And the horse would just stand there, and look at you and go
take off
and laugh.
Or anything.
Nope, he'd just stand there and laugh at you like, I did it, you're off.
Sucker.
And then you get back on and for the rest of the ride, he'd be fine. He'd never do it twice in one ride.
How funny.
Yep.
What a funny dude.
Yep.
What was his name?
Chip was his name.
I've known many a Chip Appaloosa.
Yep,
that's a good
that's right.
one.
Yep. So Chip was good for that. Well, coming up right after this commercial from Kentucky Performance Products, we're going to do our next in our installments on insurance. And we have Susan joining us again. And this time, she's going to talk about how to file a claim because you do need certain forms. And it's important to know how to file a claim for your horse or for your property before you file the claim because certain things you're going to need at certain times. And then next month in this final installment, we'll talk about how to apply for insurance and what you need for that.
Frequently asked questions brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. Question. My friend was telling me that supplementing with omega-3 fatty acids decreased the level of inflammation in horses with arthritis. Is this true? Answer: yes, there have been several peer-reviewed studies that have shown that supplementation with the omega-3 fatty acids known as EPA and DHA will help support healthy levels of inflammation in the joints. The best source of EPA and DHA is fish oil. We often recommend adding a high-quality omega-3 fatty acid supplement, such as Kentucky Performance Products, contribute to the diet of horses who struggle with joint pain and stiffness. A KPP customer named Sarah recently posted a review sharing her experience with Contribute. She wrote, "I recently swapped my Western dressage and cow horses over to the Joint Armor and Contribute. Astonishing results! My horses are moving beautifully with more impulsion and suspension in their gaits." You can learn more about Contribute and omega-3 fatty acids EPA and DHA at kppusa.com. Got questions about your feeding program? We can help. Email Karen at questions@kppusa.com or call us at 859-873-2974.
Welcome to Horse Insurance 101 by Fry's Equine Insurance at friesequineinsurance.com.
Glenn here, founder of the Horse Radio Network and host of Horses in the Morning. One of the most requested segments we've gotten from listeners is about insurance for your horse and your farm. Susan Strauser is here from Fry's Equine Insurance and has been helping us with a 5-part series on insurance, helping us all understand what we are buying and what we need. If you missed the last 3 segments, we discussed horse mortality and health insurance, liability and farm insurance, and you can find them all at horseradionetwork.com/insurance. If you missed any of them, the players are right there. It's very easy for you to go take a listen. Today, we discuss examples of claims and how to process them and what you're going to need, all the details. So, Susan, let's start with the basics of filing a claim.
Very good, Glenn. Anyone who has insurance long enough is going to have to file a claim. And the best way to navigate is to know some of the things that'll make the process easier for yourself and for the people that you're working with. So my suggestions would be first of all, report your claim right away. So if you're dealing with a policy on your horse, there is a requirement in the policy that you report any accident, sickness, or disease, even if you're not going to make a claim for reimbursement. So our rule of thumb is typically the second time you called the vet on the same incident is probably the time that you need to be contacting your insurance agent.
Oh, so even if you're not filing a claim, you contact you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Yes. We need to get your adjuster involved so we make sure that everyone's making good choices for the horse. Now, if you are filing or if you have a liability incident, which is injury to a third party or to their property, you should contact your agent or policy claim department immediately to give any relevant information, the who, what, when, where, and never negotiate with an injured party or commit to them that the insurance company will pay any costs, because this is up to the insurance adjuster to determine what is covered or not covered, or even if you're liable for that payment. Now, for a farm claim, which is typically your property coverage, you do need to assess damage and then call your agent or the policy claim department to report the damage. And then the claim adjuster will determine if it is a covered loss within your policy. So once you've reported the claim, your next step will be gather any documentation to substantiate the damage or cost of repair or the health costs associated with the horse. So for your horse insurance, the company will be looking for vet reports and itemized bills, because then they will go through and determine what's covered or what's not covered, and then they will let you know on that. In a liability incident, you want to write down the details of what happened, who was hurt, or if their property was damaged, the dates of the incident, and any witnesses. Doing this right away will help you to remember the details as the process is underway, because you may not have to have an interview with somebody right away. So you want to keep everything in writing so it keeps your memory fresh. Now, for a farm claim or a property claim, the adjuster will come out and he will let you know his assessment of the damages and give you an estimated cost of repairs. If you disagree with him, then you can obtain estimates on your own and present this information for additional review. But with that, you will also need to try to stop any further damage from occurring. And then the last bit of advice is work with your adjuster. In most cases, you're going to be assigned an adjuster to resolve the claim issue. Your agent, which would be me in this case, does not have the authority, nor do I have access to all the specific information to be able to give you advice on whether something is covered, is not covered. I can answer general questions. On the other hand, if you're having issues with your claim process, then it would be appropriate to call your agent and ask them to intervene for you.
I think that's a good overview. Let's go into a little more specifics on the different types of policies. Let's start with mortality and medical claims.
Okay. With mortality and medical, the biggest mistake we see is that the owner doesn't always report the accident or the sickness at the onset. And it's understandable because a lot of times you're dealing with a stressful situation. You're trying to get your horse to the vet or get the vet out to you. But it is important to get your claims adjuster involved so they can answer any questions concerning coverage for different procedures. And you should know up front whether something is going to be covered or not. The vet may recommend a particular treatment or a course of action, and you just want to make sure that you understand the limits in your policy. How much is going to be reimbursed to you and how does that reimbursement process works so that you know up front how this is going to play out. Keep in mind that mortality and medical policies are 1-year policies. And what that means is each year they're going to start over. So the company can add exclusions to your medical or mortality or both coverages each time the policy starts over. So you may have illness that is a recurring that was covered on your last policy, but this time there's an exclusion and they're not going to pay. You still have to have the horse treated, but you may not get reimbursement. This is why it's very important every year to read over your policy to make sure that you understand any limitations. Now, in the event that you have to make the most difficult decision of whether your horse needs treated or whether you have to have him euthanized, you want to know where the company stands on payment of that claim. For example, we had a client many years ago who did not believe that a horse ever fully recovered from a colic surgery. And he said he would never put his horse through that. Well, unfortunately, the horse did suffer severe colic, vet recommended surgery, and the owner opted not to do it. Under that circumstance, the company did not pay his mortality claim because most policies state that you have to do whatever is necessary to save your horse. So again, this is why it's very important to understand what is your responsibility in the event of a sickness or an accident with your horse, and to know what treatments will be covered, won't be covered. And it's also very important for the owner, the vet, and the adjuster to be communicating with each other so that each one of those people within that decision will be aware of the limitations of the policy and what is best for the horse. Because in the end, the companies want what's best for the horse.
All right. You explained that very well. Well done. All right. So liability claims, which I think is a trickier area.
Yes. Liability claims come up when a third party is injured or their property is damaged. So your policy is designed first to defend you if someone brings a claim against you, and then they will pay up to the limits of your policy if you are found negligent. Now, the company can opt to pay, say, medical bills or damage, say, to a vehicle or your property without the injured party having to file a lawsuit. But this is the discretion of your insurance adjuster and the insurance company. You should never try to negotiate a claim payment on behalf of the company. So you don't want to ever promise payment or, hey, we'll take care of all of this. You just need to let your adjuster do his job and get all the information together that he needs to fully understand what is going on. So another important aspect is to understand who is an insured underneath your liability policy. So your policy is going to provide defense for you as the owner of the policy, but it typically also covers your employees and even volunteers while they are acting within the scope of the duties for you. So that would mean if it was your employee who caused a liability incident, your policy will defend you as owner of the property or owner of the business, and also the employee who is acting on your behalf. And that's important to know. So, because if it's not an employee, let's say you have an independent instructor who comes out to your property, you want to make sure that they have liability coverage for their operation. And that policy needs to name you as an additional insured so that you have liability coverage under their policy if they cause the incident. So in all policies, there's going to be a section that's called Who is an Insured? Just take a few minutes to read that over to make sure that you understand who's covered and who isn't covered.
And finally, property claims. And, we had a couple of our listeners post on social media asking about, are their tractors covered and things like that. And we did address that when we talked about farm policies. But let's, in relation to claims, let's talk a little bit about buildings and equipment.
Sure. So property claims are when a house, building, or equipment listed on the policy are damaged by a covered loss. So Glenn, I understand people asking those questions because a lot of people think that when they have a barn covered, that anything in that barn is automatically covered. So if they store their tractors in there, they assume that it's going to be covered underneath the barn insurance, and that is not the case. So anytime that you need something specific covered, you need to list it on your policy. And that's something that's important to go over with your agent. There are different ways that they can be listed.
Okay, because things like tractors, which are not cheap anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it is important. You have to think about that because you're spending $30,000 to $50,000 on a tractor now.
Exactly. And so that's why, we'll get specific information to make sure that we know what tractors are covered, and we want you to understand how they're covered as well. So it's very important to have discussions with your agent when you buy a new piece of equipment or you put up a new building. You need to call your agent. You need to report it so they can get it on your policy for you. Now, most insurance policies are not going to cover wear and tear to your property. So if you've got a barn with an older roof and it starts leaking, just due to the wear and tear of weather and age, that's not going to be covered under your insurance policy. We're looking more for the coverage if wind or ice or something has done some damage to it. So again, know what your policy says, know what's covered so that when the damage comes, you're not surprised. So, and that is typically what causes damage to property is usually a storm. So what's important is after a storm comes through, take some time to go out, check your house, check your barns for leaks in the roofs, in the walls, around fireplaces. And if you do find any leaking happening, do your best to stop any further damage. So, tarp a roof or cover up any maybe openings in the siding of the barn, but do it safely. If you can't do it yourself, if it's not safe to get up on a roof, then call a company in to help you with that, because you don't want further damage to occur if you can help it. So basically what will happen is an adjuster will come out. He'll take an assessment of the damage and he'll give you an estimate of what he believes it's going to cost to repair it. They do research based on your area and cost of labor and materials there. And if for some reason you don't agree with what your adjuster said, you can always get your own estimates and then work with him to come up with a good amount. If you have to have repairs done before your adjuster can come out, Be sure that the contractor is taking pictures and taking notes before and after the repair, because you'll need to be able to show the adjuster exactly the condition that it was in and what was done to repair it, so he can determine whether it's a covered cause of loss on your policy or not. You know, another big thing that we see that people don't understand all the time is farm policies and most homeowners policies are not going to cover flood damage. So if you live in an area that is prone to flooding or in a floodplain, you need to get a separate policy to cover for loss or damage due to a flood. Now, having said that, a lot of policies have what's called, and it goes by various names, but it's called backup of sewer and drains. So let's say you've got a sump pump in your basement and it is having troubles keeping up, and you get that backup into your basement. You could have coverage for that, but it's important to know up front what is the coverage and what the limit is. Some companies will offer a tiered so that you can buy more coverage than the standard. So if you have a finished basement, make sure that limit is going to provide you with the protection that you need. Now, I understand that insurance policies can be cumbersome to read, but it is very important to review it each year and know your limits of coverage. So as an insurance agent, I look at my farm policies every year, and I update what we call replacement cost worksheets, which gives us an idea of what it would cost to replace a house or a barn in your particular area. And I make sure that your policy is keeping up with those values so that you don't fall below the a certain percentage of the replacement cost and incur a coinsurance penalty if there's a partial claim. But you need to know, you need to look at it, you need to decide, do you need to address those issues? Have you done updates to your house? Have you updated the barn, maybe put in new stalls or added on to the building? Because all these things can affect values. And you want to make sure that if there's a claim, that you've got a good value so that you're not paying more than your deductible out of pocket.
Sounds good. Thank you for all of that. And if you're interested in getting a quote for your horse, farm, or liability, give Susan a call at 614-875-3711 or send an email from the website. And the website is friesequineinsurance.com. That's friesequineinsurance.com. And to hear any section over again, if you missed something, you can go to horseradionetwork.com/insurance. We have one more monthly segment that we're going to do, and that one is how to file for a policy in the first place. So we're going to end with that. So, and I know you've gotten some calls from listeners. Don't be afraid to call and ask questions. That's why Susan's here. That's why she's doing all of this. And, you know, we all have questions on, and we just bought a new tractor and I had a question on that too. So don't be afraid to give Susan a call. That's why she's here and she doesn't bite. It's okay. So
that's right. And our job as an agent is to make sure you understand the policy that you're purchasing and to help guide you to buy the right policy for what your needs are.
friesequineinsurance.com.
And joining us now is one of our auditors, Allison. And if you aren't in the auditor group, unfortunately, you didn't see all of this story as it unraveled, but we're here bringing it to you today. So Allison, for those of you who don't know, Allison has recently been reunited with, is it safe to say your heart horse, Allison?
I think so, yeah.
So Allison, tell us a little bit about where you are and how long you've been listening, and then I want to get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, so I'm in Eastern Washington on the Spokane Indian Reservation, and I have been listening since the days of pandemic when I lived in Seattle. I found the Shauna Karish podcast, the Equine Clicker 101, and then listened to Glenn and Jamie bicker back and forth and was hooked immediately. And I've been listening every day since.
That's what we're good at, bickering. We're best at that.
Well, we're so happy to have you, and we're even more elated that you have Casey. So give us the story. How old were you when you had Casey the first time? And just, if you don't mind walking us through the story for the non-auditors.
Okay, well, yeah, so I first met Casey about 10 years ago. So I was in my mid-30s when I met him. I had spent the better part of 2 years looking for the right horse. I had always owned ponies, but always ridden off-the-track thoroughbreds and warm bloods and such when I would take lessons for dressage and hunter jumpers. So I had a trainer track down a few horses. None of them we really clicked with. And then she said, there's this thoroughbred. He's not really trained well. He's off the track. Let's go look at him. And I said, okay. So we went out to look at him. And the woman that we met was telling me about his story while one of the teenagers went and got him. And his owner had recently committed suicide. And her sister was there trying to find a home for the horse. So the girl brings the horse up into the barn, and she's at the end of the lead rope, like cowering away from this horse. And she just kind of juts the lead rope at me and says, "Here, take him." And I'm like, okay. So then I thought, geez, this girl's afraid of him, but he seems like a big pussy cat. So we lunge him around a little bit, and he lunges like a race-trained horse. He doesn't really lunge. He's kind of around the arena a little bit. And so my trainer popped up on him, and she did the walk, trot, canter thing, and he walked, trotted, and cantered kind of like a race-trained horse. And so I thought, let me try. And I got up, and I rode him, and I thought, oh, my gosh, he's super sweet. He just doesn't know anything. He's super sweet. And so getting more information on him, they lost his registration papers. They were going through his previous owner's belongings and could not find his registration papers. No one has been able to read his lip tattoo. So we don't know who he is or where he came from. And that's how Casey and I met. And he was just absolutely wonderful for me. Wasn't crazy on the trails. And in fact, I'd take him out on the trails and everybody would take off galloping, and Casey would be like, "Oh, okay, see you guys."
Oh, wow.
And he wouldn't care. He would not care. But if I asked him to gallop, he would kick it up into a gallop speed. But apparently for racing, he was like, nope, not doing it. He never actually raced. He just wasn't having it. So Casey and I had a lot of wonderful time together, and he ended up going from that race-trained horse to nice walk, trot, canter horse. So that was how he and I met. How he and I parted was actually pretty devastating for me. I've only recently started telling this story to people because it was that devastating. My childhood horse that I had for 32 years, she was just a little Arabian. We did all kinds of crazy, stupid stuff together. And I was leasing a property and had a falling out with the owners and had to move the horses, but I had no place to take them. My little Arab was at the end of her life, and I knew I was going to have to put her down before winter, but I wanted a few more months with her. And unfortunately, that was escalated, and a local horse rescue stepped in and helped me have her put down. They rehomed the miniature horse. My goats went to a friend of mine, and then Casey ended up going to an eventing barn that I trusted. And so that's where we started. After that, I was away from horses for about 10 years. It was that devastating. I just couldn't be around horses.
Oh, but I hear that was a 10-year break, but we're back now.
We are back. I had promised myself that I would not get horses again until I had my own property. I almost made that. I was living downtown Seattle, and really missed horses, really missed them. And so I found what I thought was a rescue, and it was more of a hoarding situation. Started working with a herd of feral stallions, and that's where I found your guys' podcast, because I was like, how am I going to go into this 5-acre pen with 5 feral stallions? So I found the Equine Clicker 101, and I started that with one of them who immediately hooked onto it. And a second one was literally, it was really wonderful. I actually made YouTube videos and had them posted. And one of the other horses would literally lay his head on the rump of the one I was working with. He did that for a few days until he was brave enough to take food from my hand. And those two feral stallions have become my snuggly geldings.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Jamie would be proud. Jamie would be proud.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And so then I moved home into what was my grandmother's house on 3 acres. And being me, I'm always looking at horse ads. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's a requirement for our listeners, actually. Jamie has kind of made it mandatory that we all do that.
I mean, who doesn't need, 3, 4, 5 horses in their backyard?
Well, if you're not looking, you might miss one. So
I know,
you gotta always be looking.
So when you were looking, you saw what?
Yeah, I did. So I saw this. I'm going to read you the ad I saw. It says, Casey, thoroughbred gelding, 17 years old, good looking, 16.2 hands, built stout, size 2 shoe, broke and comes with fancy buttons. Does well living alone or a group. And I thought, well, I had a thoroughbred named Casey, and he'd be about 17 years old, and he was 16.2 hands. So I stopped reading the ad, and I clicked on a photo. Oh, my God, that's my horse. And the crazy thing is I've been Facebook friends with the woman selling him for quite some time, so I instantly messaged her. And I said, I used to own this horse. And I asked her, how much are you selling him for? And the price point was what I could afford. I had to save a few paychecks. And I said, absolutely. I would love to bring him home. I never wanted to rehome him. I never wanted to give him up. And she cried, and I cried, and her mom cried, and we all cried.
Oh, everybody cried, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah, the amazing part is they never changed this horse's name. You would have never picked up on that probably had it not been for that.
Yeah, they changed the spelling, but I just, I was like, what in the world? That's him.
Well, this was meant to be.
Just amazing.
Yeah, I think so. And then at the time, I was hosting a Shauna Karish clinic. And so I asked the lady that I was purchasing him from if I could take him to the clinic for that weekend, even though I didn't own him at the point. And she said yes. And so Shauna got to meet him as well. And I just think that that's just amazing. And at that clinic, I was telling his story to everyone. And that night at dinner, I sat across from a woman, and she said that she'd love to host a clinic at her barn that she manages. And I said, what barn is that? And she told me Valley Chapel Farms. And I said, Valley Chapel Farms? And I said, what's your name? And she says, Sally Schiller. Oh, my God, Sally, I took lessons from you at Valley Chapel on Casey 10 years ago.
Oh, my God.
My mind is blown.
So it's just an amazing reconnection with people. And another person that was at that clinic was also at that barn.
This is just an amazing story all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now he's home in my backyard, and I go out every day to clean his stall and feed him, and he's got to give me a kiss every single time. He puts his face right on mine, and he wants snuggles.
This is such a happy, good story for a Friday. I love this.
Allison, I got goosebumps. I got chills. I went high. We went low. I am so happy that you and Casey are reunited, and he's so happy hanging out with his bestie now. I mean, people have a lot of things to say about the universe, but it truly works in mysterious ways.
It really does. And thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad to have him back. It's just, everything else on my property is a pony. And so having a big horse out there, it's like I hug him and I hug his leg, and I'm short. I'm 5'1". I fit under his neck. And so it's like I just kind of hug him And then I go over to my pony and I wrap my arm around his back.
Well,
but it's absolutely amazing to have him home.
Well, congratulations. We always say on this show that what's meant to happen happens, right? And you're the perfect example of that. Well, this was meant to happen.
Thank you.
And it all started, and these things usually start with a series of events that are not related to each other. And yours started with listening to a show, right? And then all of these cascade of events happened, and they're not related to each other. In the beginning, they weren't related, and now in the end, they all are. So,
right, yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah. That is so
cool.
It is.
It's wonderful.
You made us very happy here on a Friday. Thank you, Allison. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, you take care. Thanks again for listening, and what a great story. And give Casey a carrot. I don't care what Jamie says. Give Casey a carrot for me, okay?
Yeah, me too.
I will, absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, what a great story. I love that story.
I can't.
I know.
That was so good. And just so the auditors watching know, I am this animated whether I'm on video or not, because when Glenn and I record these, we're not on video.
No, I didn't know she was this animated, actually. This is a surprise for me, too.
This is how I have to be really careful to not hit my mic because I'm so, I lived in Italy for 3 years.
It's funny.
Oh, that was so good.
That makes me happy in another way, too. It makes me happy that it was a result of one of our shows that this all happened.
Isn't that, Glenn, I don't think you could ever get sick of that. The way that our shows really touch people's lives, connect people. It's just.
What is that?
Oh my gosh. Magical.
Something just floated in front of the screen. It looks like it looked like a feather.
It was a feather, but my disco ball is coming on too because the sun's about to hit it. So,
well, I'm glad she came on and told us that story. We all needed that on a Friday. And
Definitely.
You know what else we need on a Friday? We need some really bad ads. So let's get to that right after we hear from these sponsors.
For first-time horse owners and new riders, finding the information and support you need can be challenging. That's why Equine Network has partnered with Sentinel and Absorbine to bring you My New Horse. From important horsekeeping information and how-to videos to social media communities, exclusive experiences, and more, My New Horse is your one-stop shop for riders of all levels and disciplines looking for easy-to-understand horse care information and guidance. Start your horse ownership journey today. Visit mynewhorse.com.
Even under the best circumstances, travel is stressful for horses. We've all been there, stuck on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. You can make the journey knowing that US Rider is there for you. Get peace of mind on the road with US Rider's nationwide 24/7 roadside assistance coverage for both you and your horse. Join today at usrider.org.
If you ain't met one by now, you're bound to sooner or later. He says one thing and he means another, but hey, he can't help it. He's a horse trader. Horse trading. Well, it's a laissez-faire. Let the buyer beware. Horse trading. They tell a low-down lie with a sincere stare. Horse trading. Well, if they're talking in circles and the deal ain't square, he's a master in the fine art of persuading. Horse trading.
That's right. It's time for Really Bad Ads, that time of the week when listeners submit ads from Craigslist or Facebook or wherever they're getting ads nowadays. And we just have a little bit of fun with them. And we don't have time usually to get to all the ads. So Nikki, Brooklyn, Hannah, April, Emily, Christina, Margaret, Taylor, we don't have time to get to yours today. You may hear them in the future, though, because Jennifer does save them and we use them as we can. And if you submit an ad, you can do it yourself. You can record it yourself and submit it, and then we'll play it for you. So let's take a listen to Kat, who sent the first one in.
Hi, Jamie and Glenn. This is Kat in California with a really bad ad. This one's from Dream Horse.
Dream Horse?
2 socks. Flashy chestnut Appaloosa mare. 21 years old with a temperament of a 9. Please read this whole ad. She is not a broke mare. 2 Socks is an awesome chestnut, snowflake, roan mare, even though she's not registered. Just look at her pedigree below. She is beautiful with a personality to match. If you like flash, this is the one for you. If you like ones that are athletic with lots of cow, this is the one for you. She is by our stallion, Shanty Enterprise, earnings of $2,000 plus. Both Two Sock sire and dam were extremely catty, full of cow, and very fast. You name it, this mare should be able to do it. She is extremely athletic, very light, and loves attention. All of her gaits, Gates, are extremely smooth. Two Socks is halter and hobble broke, leads up well, loads, ties, and cross ties. She has been sat on both bareback and saddled, and has been ridden minimally bareback. She has packed a snaffle bit. She can be registered with the American Indian Horse Registry or the Half Quarter Horse Registry. This is an awesome mare and will sell only to the right forever home. Asking price, $2,000. May trade. There you go.
I love the accent.
I was very confused. They were so intense on the breeding, but it's not registered.
Yeah.
Very
And
confused.
they had the sire. They're the ones that should be registering the horse. I mean,
They have the dam and sire,
Yeah,
but we don't want to pay that. Y'all can pay that.
yeah, we're not doing that. This horse is a piece of crap. You do it. Read between the lines there. That horse is going to kill you. When you read between the lines, you know, that wasn't a great horse. All right. Danielle sent this one in. It was very well read. And I love the attempt at whatever accent that was. 2-horse play day horse. This must be a Facebook ad. 2-horse, or it could be Craigslist.
Oh, it's
I'm not
Craigslist.
Craigslist,
It's Craigslist.
Yeah. All right. I don't know where. It doesn't. Oh, in Oklahoma. Oh, there we go. 2-horse play day horse, $5,000. This horse are dead broke, dog gentle, done rodeo, play days, and mare's done it all. She's in her teens, the gelding for this horse's been there and done everything. They're great horse, hate to see theme go there. Very loved call. All one sentence, no punctuation, and makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know.
Are they trying to say that they do gymkhana? Like their game, like pole bending? What's play day mean?
I don't know, because the rest of it made no sense at all. I know they're dog gentle. That was the only part I understood in the whole ad, was that they're dog gentle. What they're trying to sell 2 horses. I think one's a mare. I don't know.
One's a mare, one's a gelding.
Yeah, it's Friday. Who has time to figure that out? Punctuation is important, people. Very, very important.
Grammar is our friend, guys. Okay, next up from Debbie, and this one has some pictures.
Oh, and don't forget, there is a comment below that you have to read.
Oh, okay, great. So, and do I describe these incredible photos as well?
Why don't you read the ad first and then describe the photos?
Okay, great. 12-year, maybe 13-grade gelding pasture pet, located in Pendleton, Oregon.
What accent was that?
I don't know. Someone comments on the sale ad, what is on his neck? That's her bra she used to catch him.
And that's what...
That's it.
So in the pictures, the woman is standing there holding this paint horse by the neck with what looks like a bra.
I'm going to say a C cup, maybe a 36, a 36C. The cups are on the bottom of the neck. And then there's a rope, I believe, tied to the bra.
Yeah, that's not a lead rope. It looks like a rope.
I think that they lassoed it with a bra, is what it looks like to me.
Could be. It's a new measurement for horses' necks. It's a C or a double D or, a 48 double D. My horse's neck is a 48 double D.
We're starting a trend, guys. Let us know.
Scooters would be more like a 38A.
Oh, well, we all need friends on the itty bitty titty committee, Oh my God. I've never seen a horse wear a bra.
on the neck.
On his neck. Where would you put a bra on a horse? On the front, in front of its front legs?
Well, it's the only place it's going to fit is on the neck. All right, let's go on before we get in trouble. You have the next one, Allison sent it.
Okay, great. Oh, and Allison. All right. Seeing what is out there, looking for a well-started horse. Gender does not matter. Needs to mature 15 hands high plus. Green is okay. Grade is okay. Reg is a plus, not a deal breaker. Quarter horse Arab Mustang color is also a plus, but once again, not a deal breaker. Looking for something that is a prospect for gaming, consorting, trails. Just an all-around horse between 4 and 15. Show meet what's out there.
What's consorting?
I don't think that's
Is that
legal
a discipline?
in America. I don't think that's legal. I think that's an Amsterdam thing. I don't think we're supposed to do that in America, guys.
Okay, if we don't really know what consorting is, please let us know because
I think they meant sorting.
Oh,
like
okay.
Cattle.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
But when I read the word, cow sorting, one of our friend auditors took. But consorting, I think, is what you do, after the sunset.
Again, we're going to get in trouble. We need to move on. I do like how this one, I like how all these seeking ads are like, I'm not picky, but, I'm not picky, but, I'm not picky, but. There's always 5 buts in every ad that they're not picky. Oh my God, the trailer of the week is bizarre. I'm going to show this to the auditors on the video, the trailer of the week. Let me show this to you.
What is happening on the gooseneck?
So it looks like they added an attachment to the gooseneck to put hay in the front. Or it wasn't a gooseneck. It was a regular, 2 to 4 horse rounded front tag-along trailer. It even still has the tag-along trailer hitch on it. But they added this gooseneck attachment to the front, and it made it 6 times longer. But it looks like it was to put hay up top, maybe. I don't know.
I need you to read this ad.
Okay, the ad
now
is
that
horse.
Our auditors can see.
This is in Minnesota. The horse trailer, stock trailer, $2,000. $2,000 firm. It's way over our $400 allowed price for crappy ads. 4-horse gooseneck trailer. Very solid trailer. No rust anywhere. Okay. What is all that stuff all over the trailer?
That's organic staining.
It's not rust. All that rust-colored stuff, it ain't rust. No. Tires hold air, but weather checked. They're going to go flat on the way home. That's what that means. Tack area under feed bunk. Paint is peeling. No kidding. Needs wire brush and paint or use as is. 13-foot floor, 3-foot feed bunk. Center divider. There you go. There's the ad. And the feed bunk, I think, is the thing they're calling the front thing, and it says there's a tack area under it. If you put the tack area under it is the truck. That's where you put the tack.
I was really trying to figure it out.
That's the truck.
That's the bed of your truck. They're so creative. I got to give it to them.
Okay, one of our auditors helped out here and said, we need to do this show more live more often. We get help. It said it wasn't consorting. Well, it did say consorting in the ad, but she said it was supposed to say cow sorting. Oh, that makes more sense. Autofill is a bitch sometimes.
Oh, man.
Thank you for the trailer of the week. That was one bizarre trailer, Angie. Well done.
That is wild. Next up from Faye. This is a Facebook ad. It looks like from Alabama, so I can do my southern accent, you see. 14-year-old Tennessee walking horse stallion. He has never been ridden to my knowledge. Very available. Located in Alabama.
Why is he still a stallion? It's the first question. 14 years old.
And stallion is spelled STALIION.
It's a good thing Jamie's not here, and this horse needs some vittles too, by the way.
You need some.
This is kind of good because now the auditors can actually see the ads as we do them. I didn't think about that sooner, but we can do that way. All right, this is that horse needs some vittles. I really heart, no soul, no heart, no soul, no heart, no soul, and spay, geld, neuter, everything. Do it all.
All of it. vaccinate.
Maybell sent this one in. I don't know. That's a new one. I don't remember Maybell. From a Facebook page, Horses for Sale in Indiana. 14-inch treeless barrel saddle for sale or trade. Wanting to trade for a rough-out saddle or just something with a tree. We'll trade for a better brand treeless. Well, I bet you would. You want to trade your crappy treeless for a better brand treeless. Yeah, everybody's going to sign up for that. I just don't like this one. It's a great saddle, but I just don't like it. We'll also trade for an Instapot.
Oh, she's just trying to get ready for Thanksgiving. We'll also trade for Instant Pot or toaster oven in good condition.
Do they know what the price of an Instant Pot is? It's like $80. I mean,
she just got last minute guests that said they're coming for Thanksgiving, and she's like, "Well, crap. What do I do?" we've
been doing we've done thousands of ads, and nobody's ever wanted to trade for an Instant Pot before. Especially a saddle. That's how crappy this saddle is.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. And next up from Chris, I'm not sure, this is maybe Craigslist. Project horse would make nice family horse or just a good buddy on trails. $600 Lafayette. Panda is a 7-year-old black and white warm blood. Spooks on trails and sometimes in ring. A good kid safe horse. Fun project for someone looking to start training and comes with everything. Has escaped a couple times and runs off with rider often. Will be a cool challenge. I've trained him long enough and he's ready for a new friend. Emails only.
Do they frickin' not read the ad after they write it? In one sentence, it says spooks on trails and sometimes in the ring. And then the sentence after the next one says runs off with rider often. And in the middle, we put good kid safe horse.
And on the subject line says a good buddy on trails.
No, he's not. Not a good buddy on trails. You're going to die. And your child's going to die.
I mean, listen, you know, looking out for my girlfriends out there, get a good life insurance policy. This could be a great husband for us. Hey, you want a new farm?
You're so
I got
mean. You are so mean. All right, the next one. Last one for the day is Katie sent this one in. Oh, this is a long one. Nuggets 2 Socks 2007 AQHA gelding. Located in Canterfield, Ohio. He's sound but not entirely sane. For the experienced rider only, selling as a project horse. The next line should be good for kids. Great for your children. This horse would be sold to one of our brand new 14-year-old riders, or was sold to one of our brand new 14-year-old riders. He was a kid's horse. And he is not for the inexperienced, the kids in the hospital. I added that. He will be cold-backed when you first get on, and you will have to keep him thinking and working or he wants to buck. No kidding. Just crow hops unless you happen to have a dog, and then you might as well train for the NFR.
Oh my gosh.
We were told he was a ranch horse from a previous... No, he wasn't. No. He hates dogs and just about everything else, and I'm not sure how that's true. Who... I'm pretty certain got him at an auction to flip and knew nothing about him as he was entirely misrepresented. Yeah, no kidding. Dealer, screams dealer. Mm-hmm. No, we haven't treated him for anything, so if you think that's the problem, come get him and do it yourself. If you like his bloodlines enough and think you can fix his crazy, come get him. Looking to get out what our client has put in, $3,200. Or trade for a crock pot. No, that doesn't. Or trade for something more. Or trade. I haven't even been drinking this morning. Or trade for something more suitable if you have one broke to sell or need a challenge. Once again, we're going to trade our crazy, nutty $3,200 horse for your perfectly broke, sane one. I'm sure it happens every day. I do not have riding videos because I can't get on the horse, and I'm not getting on him. Currently have broken ribs. Oh my God. They put that in the ad. That is in the ad. And try to get one for you. I can send you lunging to prove he's sound, or just come and see him. He's a very pretty horse, actually.
He's a handsome little chestnut thing, but my God, you know, I'm happy none of these people are in sales.
Well, they were honest. This ad was very honest. I mean, they even admitted they had broken ribs, and they didn't say it, but you know how they got the broken ribs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know how that happened. But $3,200, I'm afraid you're going to take a loss on this one. You know, it's always good when you see somebody selling and they act like they were the previous owner to look and do some research on how many other ads they have for sale. And in all 20 of the other ads, they're also going to say they were the previous owner. Mm-hmm. So you want to just be careful of the dealers out there. This was always my biggest pet peeve living near New Holland auctions, because the dealers were in there all the time and they were lying the whole time. They were selling every horse that was in there, and it just made me sad. But I can't have a soul because Jamie says I'm not allowed to when we do really bad ads. So we're going to move on. There were some funny ones today, though, I got to admit.
That was good.
And then there were some that just made me sad and wanted to take them home. So, Jamie, this one here is in Canfield, Ohio, and it needs your professional help right there. You need to help it.
Please.
The last one. So just what Jamie needs. She just got rid of 2 horses, and now I'm encouraging her to get another
she has room. It's good. You're welcome.
Yeah, don't tell Chad that. Auditors, hang on. We're going to chat about food after in the post show, and we'll continue showing you how we do all this mess. Thank you for watching. If you did in the auditor room today, we really appreciate it. Next week, we're going to have a interesting week for you. Monday and Wednesday, Jamie will be here. Tuesday of next week is the Chi University episode. Thursday and Friday, we are dark. And then Sunday, Ashley and I are back in our full Christmas sweaters. It is Ugly Christmas Sweater year for Radiothon. We've done some of the guest interviews already, and they have all represented with ugly Christmas sweaters. And auditors, hang on for the post show, because we have an announcement for you of something we're going to do that was actually an auditor idea. And Ashley and I haven't talked about this yet, but I'm committing to it. So we're going to do this in the post show. But hang on, everybody. You have a terrific weekend, and we hope you get to ride your horse and spend some time with family.